Did you know that over half of all communication is nonverbal? 55%, to be precise. Think about that. Before you've uttered a single word, before you've had a chance to state your case or make your introduction, the person across from you has already formed a powerful, lasting impression. They've decided if you're a threat, an ally, a leader, or a follower. And most of us wander through life completely oblivious to the powerful signals our own bodies are sending out, wondering why we get the results we do. What if I told you the secret to attraction, to influence, to command it isn't about having the jawline of a movie star or the physique of a professional athlete? Those things are noise. The real signal, the one that cuts through the static, is invisible. It's a silent script written in posture, movement, and presence. I spent 30 years in rooms with people who had everything to lose. Liars, cheats, killers, and master manipulators. My job was to see through the story they were telling and read the one their body couldn't hide. And I'm here to tell you, the same principles that unmask a liar are the ones that build unshakable attraction. Social psychologists can back me up on this. Studies consistently show that what people, particularly women, respond to isn't an exaggerated, cartoonish display of strength. It's the subtle, confident signals of real-world capability. It's the difference between a man who looks like he can lift a car and a man who looks like he knows how to fix it when it breaks down on a deserted road at midnight. One is a fantasy, the other is security. Let me tell you about a case involving a mid-level accountant. We'll call him Frank. Frank was unremarkable. 5'10", a bit soft around the middle, thinning hair. Yet, he managed to embezzle nearly $2 million over 5 years, charming his way past 3 separate audits. When we finally sat him down, I watched him enter the room. There was no swagger, no bravado, but his walk was fluid. He sat down not like a man cornered, but like a man taking his rightful seat at a table. He made direct, unflinching eye contact. His hands rested calmly on the table. In those first 10 seconds, I saw it. He didn't project intimidation, he projected an absolute, unshakable belief in his own belonging. He was so comfortable in his own skin that it created a field of influence around him. People simply didn't question him because his nonverbal cues screamed, "I have this under control." He wasn't physically attractive in the classical sense, but he was magnetic. He understood the invisible script. The question you need to ask yourself is, what is your body saying about you when you're not talking? Are you broadcasting confidence and capability, or are you signaling doubt and insecurity? Let's talk about the first and perhaps most underestimated signal, forearm confidence. Now, this might sound absurdly specific, but stay with me. For thousands of years, our hands and forearms were our primary tools for survival. They built shelters, hunted for food, wielded weapons, and protected our families. A man's capability was written on his hands and arms. This is baked into our DNA. It's a primal cue. When you see a person's forearms, your subconscious brain is performing a rapid assessment. Are they capable? Are they competent? Can they do things in the real world? Hiding your hands, stuffing them in your pockets, or keeping your sleeves buttoned to the wrist in a casual setting. These are subtle signals of withdrawal, passivity, or even deception. It's a closed-off posture. It says, "I have nothing to offer," or worse, "I have something to hide." I once interrogated a suspect in a high-stakes corporate espionage case. A real smooth talker, Ivy League education, tailored suit, perfect smile. For the first hour, he was flawless. He had an answer for everything. But I noticed he kept his jacket on and his shirt cuffs buttoned tight, despite the room being warm. His hands were always clasped, thumbs tucked away. He was verbally projecting confidence, but his body was screaming concealment. I had an officer bring in a coffee. I intentionally fumbled it, spilling a bit on the table near him. His instinct was to help, and for a split second, he unbuttoned his cuffs and rolled up his sleeves to grab some napkins. And there it was. For the first time, I saw his forearms, his hands fully exposed. The tension in his shoulders dropped. He became, just for a moment, a man of action instead of a man of words. In that moment of unguarded, functional movement, his whole demeanor changed. And so did my line of questioning. We broke him 20 minutes later. This isn't about having massive, vascular arms. This is about the psychology of disclosure and capability. When you're in a social setting, a date, a meeting, a party, try rolling up your sleeves. It's a simple, powerful gesture. It signals that you are relaxed, open, and ready to engage with the world. It's the visual equivalent of saying, "I'm here, I'm present, and I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty." It conveys a sense of grounded, practical competence that is deeply attractive. Think about the classic image of the capable man, the mechanic, the chef, the artist. Their sleeves are rolled up. They are in the act of creating, of fixing, of doing. This is a signal you can adopt immediately. The next time you feel hesitant or nervous in a social situation, focus on your hands. Place them on the table. Use them to gesture. Roll up your sleeves. You're not just changing your appearance, you're changing your psychological state and broadcasting a message of readiness and reliability. Have you ever noticed how your perception of someone changes the moment they go from being formally dressed to rolling up their sleeves and getting to work? The second invisible signal is what I call posture power. This goes far beyond your mother telling you to sit up straight. Your posture is the frame on which your entire presence is built. It's the most immediate and powerful signal you can send about your place in the social hierarchy and your own self-perception. In the animal kingdom, dominance and submission are almost entirely communicated through posture. An alpha wolf stands tall, chest out, head held high. A subordinate wolf makes itself smaller, rounding its back, tucking its tail. We humans are not so different. Slouching, rounding your shoulders, and caving in your chest is a subconscious attempt to take up less space. It's a nonverbal apology for your own existence. It signals deference, low confidence, and a lack of vitality. Your brain and the brains of everyone around you interpret that posture as weakness. It's not a judgment, it's a primal, biological reaction. I was once hired to consult on a corporate merger. The CEO of the smaller company, a brilliant man named David, was being completely railroaded in the negotiations. He was smarter, his company was more innovative, but in every meeting, he was losing ground. I was asked to observe a session. David would enter the boardroom and immediately seem to shrink. He'd sit down and hunch over his notes, his shoulders curling forward as if protecting himself from a blow. The opposing CEO was a physically larger man, but that wasn't his real advantage. His advantage was that he owned his space. He sat upright, spread his documents out, and leaned back in his chair, a classic posture of dominance and ease. David was signaling submission before he even opened his mouth. My advice to him had nothing to do with business strategy. I told him, for the next meeting, I want you to do one thing. Walk in, place your hands on the back of your chair, stand there for 3 full seconds, and then sit down slowly, keeping your back straight and your shoulders back. Claim your territory. He felt ridiculous doing it, but it worked. His change in posture triggered a change in his own mindset and, crucially, a change in how the other CEO perceived and reacted to him. He stopped signaling prey, so the predator backed off. Here's a practical way to understand this. Your physical posture has a direct link to your neurochemistry. When you stand or sit tall, with an open and expansive posture, your brain actually increases testosterone production, the hormone associated with confidence and assertiveness, and decreases cortisol, the stress hormone. Simply changing your physical shape for 2 minutes can change your hormonal profile, making you feel more powerful and less stressed. This is why it's not just about faking it. You are literally changing your body's chemistry to become more confident from the inside out. So, here's the question for you. How are you sitting right now reading this? Are your shoulders slumped? Is your head pushed forward? Try this. Pull your shoulders back and down, lift your chest, and tuck your chin slightly. Feel the difference? You are now broadcasting authority, health, and confidence without saying a word. This signal is the foundation of a powerful presence. Now, let's move on to the third signal, your movement patterns. We've covered how you present yourself when still, but how you move through the world is just as, if not more, revealing. Your gait, your gestures, the way you navigate a crowded room, these are all parts of a dynamic signature that tells a story about your past, your physical health, and your mental state. Is your movement fluid and purposeful, or is it hesitant, jerky, and inefficient? Functional, athletic movement doesn't mean you have to be a professional athlete. It means your body moves with an economy of motion. It signals adaptability, coordination, and a fundamental comfort within your own physical form. It suggests a life of activity and engagement, not passivity and stagnation. I remember tailing a person of interest in a fraud investigation. A man we'll call Marcus. On paper, he was a bookish academic, but as I watched him walk down a busy city street, something didn't add up. He moved with a quiet efficiency I recognized. He didn't shuffle or drag his feet. His steps were deliberate. His head was on a swivel, constantly and calmly assessing his environment without appearing paranoid. He navigated the crowd not by pushing through it, but by anticipating its flow and finding the path of least resistance. It was the walk of someone with training, someone who had practiced moving with intent. It turned out Marcus was a former intelligence officer who had built a new identity. His academic cover story was perfect, but his body told the truth of his past. His movements betrayed a history of discipline and high-stakes awareness that no amount of tweed jackets could hide. Contrast this with the way most people move. They are disconnected from their bodies. They trip over curbs. They bump into people. Their gestures are either stiff and awkward or wild and uncontrolled. This signals a lack of presence, a mind that is somewhere else entirely. Awkward, inefficient movement can be subconsciously interpreted by others as a sign of ill health, low energy, or a lack of self-awareness. It doesn't inspire confidence or attraction because it suggests an inability to handle one's own physical self, let alone a challenging situation. Improving this isn't about learning to walk like a spy. It's about cultivating mindfulness in your movement. Practice walking with your head up, not staring at your phone. Feel your feet connect with the ground. When you reach for something, do it with a smooth, deliberate motion. Engage in activities that improve your body's functional capabilities, things like yoga, martial arts, dance, or even just basic stretching. These activities build a better mind-body connection, which translates into more graceful, confident, and attractive movement in your everyday life. When you enter a room, do you move with purpose or do you drift uncertainly? Your answer speaks volumes. This brings us to the fourth and most crucial signal, the one that ties all the others together: authentic presence. You can roll up your sleeves, straighten your back, and move with grace. But if it's all a performance, a carefully constructed mask, people will feel it. The human brain is the most sophisticated lie detector on the planet. We are exquisitely tuned to detect incongruence, the mismatch between what someone is projecting and who they actually are. True attraction, the kind that creates deep and lasting influence, stems from a genuine comfort in your own skin. It's the quiet confidence of a person who has accepted themselves, flaws and all. It's a state of being, not an act. Let me give you a stark example. I was working a case with two primary suspects, both accused of the same conspiracy. Suspect A, let's call him Gregory, was the picture of confidence. He was handsome, articulate, well-dressed. He had the firm handshake, the direct eye contact, the perfect posture. It was all technically flawless. But sitting across from him, I felt nothing. It was like watching a perfectly programmed machine. There was a hollowness to him, a subtle but pervasive sense of effort. He was trying to be confident. Suspect B, Alex, was a different story. He was nervous. He fidgeted a bit. He wasn't as polished, but when he spoke about the things he was passionate about, his entire being lit up. His posture would straighten naturally. His eyes would gain a genuine spark. He wasn't afraid to admit what he didn't know, and he wasn't trying to be anyone he wasn't. There was an integrity, a congruence to him. Gregory's performance was a brittle shell. Alex's presence was grounded and real. Guess which one cracked under pressure? Gregory. His entire persona was a defense mechanism, and when we pushed on it, it shattered. Alex, because he wasn't wasting energy maintaining a false front, had the resilience to withstand the pressure. Authenticity is magnetic because it's rare. In a world where everyone is curating a perfect image, a person who is genuinely at ease with their own imperfections is a beacon of strength. People are drawn to it because it gives them permission to be authentic, too. This isn't an excuse for poor posture or sloppy movement. It's about integrating those things into who you are. The goal is not to wear confidence like a costume, but to cultivate it from within until it becomes your natural state. This comes from self-knowledge, from facing your fears, and from building real competence in areas that matter to you. Forced bravado is a repellent. It reeks of insecurity. Relaxed, authentic ease is an attractant. It signals an inner world that is solid, stable, and welcoming. So ask yourself this when you're around others. Are you performing, or are you simply being? The answer is the key to unlocking true, unshakable presence. So we've dissected these for signals, forearm confidence, posture power, movement patterns, and authentic presence. The critical thing to understand is that these aren't just tricks to get a date. This is the fundamental language of social influence. The man who can walk into a boardroom with the same quiet authority he brings to a first date is the man who will succeed. The woman who can command a room with her presence during a presentation is using the same principles that create magnetic attraction in her personal life. This isn't about deception, it's about alignment. It's about bringing your external signals into harmony with your internal strengths. The invisible script I've been talking about is universal. It's read and understood in job interviews, in leadership roles, in friendships, and in family dynamics. People are fundamentally wired to respond to authenticity and capability, not just aesthetics. The mistake many people make is they focus on the superficial. They buy the expensive watch but stuff their hands in their pockets. They get the tailored suit but slouch in it. They rehearse clever lines but don't know how to simply be in a room. They are decorating a dilapidated building. I'm telling you to fix the foundation. When you carry yourself with authentic confidence, the clothes you wear and the words you say become enhancements, not compensations. Your presence becomes the main event. People will feel it on a primal level. They won't know why they trust you, why they are drawn to you, or why they defer to your judgment. They will simply feel that it is the right thing to do. That is the power of mastering the unspoken script. It's about becoming the person who doesn't need to announce their value, because their very being radiates it. So here is my challenge to you. For the next week, I want you to become an observer. Stop focusing so much on what people are saying and start watching what they are doing. Notice these signals in others. Who in your life commands respect without demanding it? Watch how they stand, how they move, how they use their hands. Then, turn that observation on yourself. Take a moment each day to check your posture. When you walk into a coffee shop, do it with purpose. When you talk to someone, uncross your arms and roll up your sleeves. Don't do it as a performance. Do it as an experiment. See how it changes how you feel and, more importantly, how others respond to you. What you will find is that the most profound changes in your life often come not from the grand gestures, but from mastering the silent, invisible signals you send every second of every day. This is where the real work is done.